if you see me Saturday at the market at like noon, I had been awake, and most times at that time I've been awake for like 20 hours when I get to that point. And that was in every year of our business, we had seen like at least a 33% growth in sales.
Wow.
Yeah, like, which is like, worry about it. And then I was like, okay, I'm all in on this.
Wow.
And it was like, it was scary. Like, I was like, because bartending was that safety net, you know?
Welcome to the Kicked in the Junk podcast. This is a podcast where we discuss the low times in life, where we talk about when the things that have just hit us so hard and it feels like we can never recover from injuries to job loss to divorce to career changes to starting up new businesses. We discuss it all and look at the raw emotion that we feel during those times, but more importantly, what would we learn from these low moments and how sometimes those moments catapult us into the next amazing thing that we didn't even see coming. My name's Nathaniel Berg, and I'm the host. I hope you enjoy. Ever wonder what it's like to start your own business? Or do you know anybody that you see now that owns their own business and think, man, they just have it all going on. That's so amazing. How did they do it? Well, on today's episode of Kicked in the Junk, I have Tristan Shah on the show as a guest to discuss his business, A Sweet Romance, that him and his wife Alana started 5 years ago. I've actually known Tristan for 4 of these 5 years and been able to witness and kind of be in the early stages of his business growing and seeing them grow from being kind of hidden and nobody knew to now there's lineups and they're selling out, before their day's even done. So this is a really exciting episode because, again, I've been able to see this. I found this really inspirational. I found that there were some really great tools in this that Tristan shares, and I hope you enjoy it as well. So, without further delay, we'll get right to the show. All right, Tristan. Well, thanks for being on the show.
Thanks for
Appreciate you being here. I've known you for quite a while. Actually, I know you through my wife Emily and the farmers market and some of the amazing stuff you guys are doing there.
Yeah.
It's been really cool because I've been able to see your business grow for the last 3 or 4 years, actually as long as I've known Emily and been with Emily, and seen it grow from having a few people in your guys' stall to like now you guys have a lineup 15 minutes before you guys even open. You guys are selling out all the time. Your business is bumping. Things are growing. So it's just so cool to see.
It is.
And one of the coolest parts you get to, this is all not just with you, but you're doing with your partner and your wife, which is so amazing. Yeah. So yeah, again, thanks for being here. So yeah, let's maybe dive into like when did you guys start the company and
first off, thanks for having me, and thanks for all your help because you're basically like one of our kind of unofficial employees that helps set up the tent in the morning when we're running an hour behind. So no, it's good. When did we start? I'm trying to think now. 2017.
Oh, okay.
So basically, quick story, my wife and I, Alana, we had planned to go to Italy for about 10 days, before we went on the trip. We booked out some time from work, and it was like a month before the trip, her boss basically told her that she couldn't go. She'd have to rearrange the dates, or she'd have to quit and start at the bottom of the pecking order.
Yeah. And
it would have been below all the people she had trained. Mm-hmm. We hadn't been on a vacation in a little bit. We were excited to go to Europe for the first time together. So we said, whatever, let's just quit. I got my vacation time, went to Italy. Halfway through the trip, we were doing the Path of Gods hike. Cool. And super long, didn't bring enough water, didn't bring enough euros with us, like could barely afford lunch. Ended up just chilling at a beach at the end of it, and we just said, you know what, why don't we try doing our own little thing? Why don't we try baking at a farmer's market or something? And so we kind of joked about it. We said, hey, you know what, that's not a bad idea. I had a bartending job I didn't really care about going home to, and she had nothing. So we said, let's when we get back, we'll talk to some family and friends, and we'll just see how it goes. So we had a couple of years before that, we had started just selling pumpkin pies.
Sure.
And we built like a little bit of traction, but nothing crazy. Okay. So we just thought, let's do the farmers market. Cool. Yeah, let's showcase what we got. So
That's so cool. And you know what? I want to back up a little bit because you kind of started with like a kicked in the junk moment.
Yeah,
Where like
yeah.
where the universe just is like, hey, this is happening, and you guys basically you're put in a position where you had to choose.
Yeah.
But that's what I find so wonderful about these stories and kind of cool is because it's like it is a low moment.
Yeah.
But then that low moment of being like, well, you can do this, go on this honeymoon or go on this vacation, sorry, that you guys wanted, or you can get fired. Well, right, which most people go, oh my God, that's scary.
I know, right? And it was a big deal for Alana because the job that she had at the time was the highest paid job she had ever had in her life. She had full benefits. She was respected there.
Wow.
Everything, but for some reason they just said on short notice, you have to make a decision. You have to either change your vacation that you had planned, 4 months ago, or you have to or quit and then reapply.
Yeah.
And it just it didn't make much sense. And Alana is a person who loves change, so for her, she was like, whatever. I'll land on my feet. And we didn't, we didn't have a lot of debt or anything, so it wasn't like, oh man, I really need to make sure I have this paycheck. It was more like, let's go enjoy this vacation, and when we get back, we'll sort it out. And again, it was a 10-day trip, so we were asking for 12 days off, and they couldn't do it. So,
it wasn't 3 or 4 or 5 months.
Exactly, right? So
wow, so that's kind of cool. Again, like I said, that sparked. That was the spark.
That was we had talked about it, but I don't know if we would have ever done it because. Yeah. If we never got on that vacation, maybe she had moved higher up at this thing and then has a better position and more comfortable and just enjoys, maybe we just never do it. And for me, I'd gotten to a point in my baking career where I'd bake for a year and then I'd kind of get sick of it and then I'd go into bartending. And for me, I'd always go back to baking because I loved it, but then the money was never there in the job. It's a food industry in general. It's tough to get by. Yeah. Whereas like bartending, I was making 4 times the amount. Yeah. I was having more fun. I didn't work these weird hours that I do now. We call them demon hours, basically. So
working during the witching hours.
Yeah, man. I'm awake when everyone's asleep, right? Like it makes no sense, but nice. It was. I guess that was the first kicked in the junk moment, and sparked something beautiful. So
it did, which is so amazing. So you guys got started. Yeah. What were some of the struggles along the way? Because a lot of times people, that's what they're afraid of, right? Well, one, we're afraid of the unknown. Yeah. But being able to see and hear of like, hey, these are some struggles that you're going to come across, make it easier. So what were some of your guys' struggles? Well,
first, the biggest struggle I think for us was like we knew we were like good. But we didn't have much of a name or reputation out in BC. We had both been living in Winnipeg. It's where we actually met at pastry school in Winnipeg at Red River College. So we were a bit more known out there. So coming out here, Alana was starting to build her name up a little bit, but there was still no recognition. And we were like, oh, we can make some great stuff. But like selling it, how do we get this out to people? How do people actually even know we're even that good? And so our first couple of our very first market we did, we showed up, we didn't even have anything to sample. My mother-in-law actually came to help us that day. She ran across the street in Peachland to a restaurant to get a cutting board and a knife just to cut up a cheesecake so people could try it. I think most of our sales was friends drove down just to come buy some stuff from us and support us. Sure. Maybe did $150, and to be honest, the first year was kind of like that. Wow. Didn't have really big days for sales. We'd come home with a lot of product. I was giving stuff away, giving stuff to farmers, and just learning, just trying to learn the atmosphere of the market and okay, what can I do? What can I do to attract people to our stand? What can I do to get someone just to have a bite? My whole mindset and the whole thing was I just need people to taste it. I need people just to know how good it is. I don't need them to buy it right now, but I just need them to think of us whenever they have a special event. So our main tactic basically was cheesecakes are our highest ticket item.
They're amazing.
Thank you.
They're actually like super listening. They're absolutely delicious. We just crushed one last night. That raspberry white chocolate Oreo was
nice.
Insane.
I was gonna say I heard they're good freeze dried too. So.
Yeah.
But so what we thought was we'll bake a small version of our cheesecake in like a shallow cake pan.
Yeah.
And then we'll cut that up into little squares, put that on a toothpick. I can make a bunch of them, easy to give out, and then easy for people to just have a taste. And our cheesecake, different than most, like not as cheesy, not super sweet. Lighter. And then we, like our fruit ones are like, they're so fruit forward. So like when you bite a blueberry cheesecake, that was the first flavor we did. So that one always just comes to my mind. But when you bite into like one of our flavored cheesecakes like that, you taste that right away. So that's what we wanted. And then it's kind of like a business tactic, but like people will enjoy that. Oh, I don't want to buy the $10. I think the cheesecakes back then are actually only $8. I think now we charge
a steal.
I know, right? Now they're $12. But people be like, oh, I really like that. I don't want to spend $8 though. Oh, but they're selling a $2 cookie. I'll buy the $2 cookie. Okay, perfect. Whatever. I got you. I pulled you in with a sample of a cheesecake. You know how good the cheesecake is. Well, surely the other stuff must taste really good.
If you like that. See, that's really smart because it's funny that you said that because, again, I follow a lot of different, like Dean Grazio, see a lot of different guys that do marketing and business, and that's what they talk about lots is like giving that value first.
100%.
Right? And then letting them, and just making them understand, like, it's not even about buying now. Yeah. It's just about, like, making sure they try it.
Yeah, that's
making sure they try it, and then so that when they go, oh, cheesecake, oh, you know what, I remember. Hey, there are these guys. Right. Because that's exactly how I got on it. And Emily went, oh, if you like cheesecake or if you like cinnamon buns, these guys.
Word of mouth was our best friend. It's the slowest, it's the slowest way for sure. Okay. You gotta because you know what?
Because people always think it's going to be like, one person tells 3 and 10. Yeah.
And they for sure will tell people maybe fast, but to get that next person to register it, remember that, and then to act on that actual thought it takes so much. Yeah. So it's it's a slow process, but anyone that does it, they will actually become a returning customer. Whereas you could pay for an ad on a radio, you could do a little thing, a social media blurb, you could buy some followers or whatever. That might get you a little surge at that time, but then you're probably not seeing those people again. Yeah. So yeah, our first year was just actually it was basically our first 2 years. We were just trying to get as many I tell this to every new vendor, but I was every single person that walked by, I tried to get a word in with them. I tried to just ask them how their day is. Always a smile on my face, always standing, always presentable, and just try to just have a conversation. And if people, it's a weird thing, but if people like you, they'll probably purchase something from you.
No, it's just how it works. People like to do business that they know and trust. Yeah. And the first thing is liking, right? And then they get the sample and that was good. And they trust it, and then they're, well, hey, what else do you do? And then they know you, right? So that's super smart. So I guess my question is, what were some of during the early stage, can you remember a couple times that were very emotional, very raw? And again, because with any business, it's about vulnerability. You're putting something you've created, spent time and energy and effort and love and care into, and you're going, hey, please, I want somebody to enjoy it as much as I do. Yeah. So that's tough.
It is tough.
So what were a couple moments that might have just been just so tough, and what did you learn from that?
I think so the tough ones for us was we had some days we almost quit doing the Peachland market because we were having days where I was just coming home with so much stuff.
Yeah.
And it was man, I was hey, we made this awesome cheesecake. We did this cherry apricot one. We got these beautiful cherries. It looked so amazing. We made 24 of them, and I'm coming home with 15. And it's just and there's we can freeze them, but we have to clear, for us, we have to clear off the whole top of them, so that takes time, and then we're wasting all that whipped cream, the fresh product, freeze them, and then we got to pull them up, redecorate them for the next market that we're going to do. And that was really tough, but I think the biggest thing, the hardest pull for Alana and I was bartending 4 nights a week, sometimes 5 nights a week, to pay for everything basically.
I remember that.
So
I remember when you were telling us, yeah.
So we were renting a commercial kitchen that was shared with like 5 other people. So we had certain hours we could go in there. It was tough because we were paying an hourly fee. So it was like $18 an hour. As soon as you walk in, that clock's ticking, right? And you're like, you work for yourself, but when you're renting by the hour, you kind of feel like you're working for somebody else because now you don't want to take a break because you're on the clock. Now it's like you start to get a little tired and you're not moving as fast, and you know, maybe the other person starts to get a little upset with you because it's I'm dragging my feet, you know, I could have been out of here 30 minutes sooner, but I'm exhausted, you know. So we had working against the clock. All our money was getting tied up into the business, and then between like running around getting supplies, baking, and then like having to go bartend, you know, I was basically shutting down a bar, you know, 4 or 5 days a week. Wow. We just got into like a vicious circle of like not eating well, not seeing each other, you know. Like it's so important to have like good quality connection time with your partner. And when you start flipping on opposite schedules, like I'd sleep during the day and Alana would be awake then, and you know, it was really tough on us. And I asked Alana, and she said she's fine with me saying this, but Alana had quit smoking for like, I forget, like 3.5, 4 years, but the business stress got her back onto smoking. Right. Yeah, so she basically had like quit cold turkey back when we were living in Winnipeg, and then maybe had the odd social cigarette here and there, but nothing crazy. But the stress of the business kind of led to her starting to smoke, and I didn't even realize it. Like I didn't even know half the time because it was like we were so apart from each other. She's like, I had no one to lean on. I was, you know, she'd be doing some of the time. She'd be doing a lot of the stuff herself because I'd be working and whatnot. And that was probably.
So what kind of emotions then came up during that time? Were you feeling?
Felt like maybe we made a mistake. Yeah. Like we didn't really sink too much money in it, so it wasn't like a crazy like endeavor because like we were renting a commercial kitchen that we were paying hourly. So it's not like we just got this commercial space. You know, signed a 3-year lease or something. Mm-hmm. Had a lot of the equipment that we were able to use, but I was feeling sad. The first year I was like still pretty like gung ho and like I could still like give her, but year 2 and 3 I actually went through like multiple depression periods. Wow. I didn't really realize it at the time. But like I would have days where like I'd get to the market, I'd be so exhausted. I try to explain my schedule to people and it doesn't even make sense, but like I'd be awake for like 24 hours straight. That's insane. Numerous times. Like I still to this day, like I hit 22, 23 hours now, and I try to cap that. And I know it's bad because everything I read about sleeping, it's how important it is. Yeah. Like I'm afraid of what the future holds for me. But at the same time, I always tell Alana, I'm like, make sure scientists study my brain because I will be a prime example of like sleep deprivation of like, it's the abuse. But basically, if you see me Saturday at the market at like noon, I had been awake, and most times at that time I've been awake for like 20 hours when I get to that point. Holy shit. And that was every Saturday for the last 6 years. And then there's days in between the weeks where like I'd get close to 22, 23 hours. And it's not so much like I'm awake those hours, it's like I'm working. Basically, it's like I wake up, I'll eat something, and then it's work, and then that's it. And it's I don't know, my dad worked a lot, like he did double jobs. I've worked 2 jobs a lot of my life, so I've always kind of had that. It's ingrained kind of thing, but don't recommend it. But it messed me up, and there'd be days I'd get to the market, I'd feel so defeated. I'd look back, I created all this beautiful stuff, but I felt, I guess, ugly, you know, like I was just not, I didn't feel like. I always explain it to my friends, like, the Tristan you knew is no longer, he doesn't exist anymore. There's no energy. Because I changed, and I'm usually a pretty upbeat kind of go guy. And
even when you've done this 20 hours, you're still upbeat. So like if that's your upbeat, like damn man, I want to see you when you're fresh in the morning.
But I always talk to and my buddies I don't even think my buddies know this, but 2018 we got married.
Yep.
And at the end of, it was August of 2017. So we'd been doing the market for a few, and it was just crazy. But my friends had thrown an amazing bachelor party for me. I didn't have anything planned. But right before that week, I was so down in the hole. I was feeling just so awful. And then all the love that I just felt from all my boys just giving me like this amazing weekend, it rejuvenated me.
Yeah.
I came back, like I was so motivated. And it's weird, like, you after a bachelor party, you're like, I can't work. I don't want to do anything.
Yeah.
I was like, I still felt that way.
Totally.
But my mindset,
your heart was full.
My mind, my heart, everything had changed because I just I just got this rush of like all these emotions that I guess I'd just been lacking from my day to day because I basically had cut off friends and everything just because I was so invested in trying to get this thing going. So that was a big one.
Yeah, that sounds like a lot, and it sucks that you went through that depression, but it's also, I feel like sometimes it's good to know because I feel like. We get this glamorous idea. Oh, you're in your business. Oh my God! And you're this, and this. It's like this, just this magical place where like everything is wonderful. Yeah. And it's like, no, they're just different problems. Yeah. Right. It's like it's just different. But you went through that. What do you think was the change there? What sparked the change, or when did things change, and what sparked that, do you think? Like the change for things getting better? Yeah, things getting better, the depression, you getting, the business getting busier. Like what was the difference there? I think like a big change, I think for me, like still a couple of years later, I still kind of went through like similar things where like I just overwork myself too much and I'd kind of fall back. But after that first couple of ones, I was able to at least realize the signs of when I was starting to slip. Yeah. And the biggest thing was like, I'm just so grateful, like having Alana as my partner in life and in this business has made it so much easier when going through stuff like this because I'm able to like lean on her and she fully understands exactly what I'm going through because she's in the same boat. Yeah. So like she was like such a solid crutch. Like I was able to at least talk to her. She would understand like, hey, I can see he's down. Like what can I do to cheer him up kind of things. So I think that was like just having her around was just such a big thing. And then what changed in the business then? Because again, the first few years were tough. Yeah. And I think that's right when I got introduced because I remember when I first came to you guys, it was an indoor market. Yeah. You guys were still doing the samples, so I was like, wow, this is amazing. Tried it, I'm like, okay, well, we're buying it. It's delicious. Yeah. And it did again, and it helped because Emily, because she was working there too at the farmer's market. So, so right there, things were still kind of a little bit slower then. So what changed? What do you think was? I think our big change for our business, which is going to seem weird, was like COVID was like the kick in the junk, but then turned into a blessing all in that same year. So it's like, oh, okay. Yeah, so 2019 Easter, we have like our best market we've ever had. Like that was the first market. I forget the sales. I'd have to go back and look, but that was like the first market where like we had mobs of people on both sides of our tent. Like people were like upset stuff had sold out. Like there was like was like, holy, this is so crazy. And it was like there was our cash box was like overflowing mainly because we didn't put money in. Like we were so sloppy with our money, so it was just like not stacked good. But it was just like it was overflowing and it was like amazing. And then that whole year was really good and. Gotta be a good feeling. We're like, holy, this is it. Like, this is this. I was like, I was still bartending then, and I was like, okay. But I'd been cutting down my shifts, so I went from like 5 days to 4 days to 3 days. Yeah. And then I was like 2.5 days of bartending. I was like a close and open, and then I'd fill in here and there when I could for like a buddy. Yeah. And I was like, okay, you know what? 2020, we're gonna do it. Our winter market sales were like through the roof, and every year of our business we had seen like at least a 33% growth in sales. Wow. Yeah, like which is like I'm not a business guy, but like solid. Yeah, and like, again year after year, after year, like in the beginning, like awesome. Still that's got that nice curve to I forget my math days now, but that's good. Right? That's real good. Yeah, those XY axes. Mm-hmm. But gearing up for 2020, and then I remember it was like we did this big catering at the ballet, a bunch of like
kind of, you know, big wigs, but we were excited just for like all these new people to try our stuff, and then we had prepped all this amazing stuff for the market the next day on Saturday. It was Thanksgiving themed, or not Thanksgiving, St. Patrick's Day themed.
Yep.
And then we get the email, COVID, Dr. Bonnie Henry, we're shutting it down.
Sure.
We got all this stuff. I'm just like, I got all this stuff that's green. I'm like, I can't say, what am I supposed to do with these Bailey Jameson desserts? Who wants to, and we had no idea.
Yep.
You know, they said 2 weeks, but we really had no idea when things would be back going. So I think we offered to do some deliveries. We tried giving some stuff to the hospital. They ended up saying we can't accept this because, you know, whatever, liabilities, whatever. I think a lot of it went in the garbage. Sad to say, I hate wasting food. But that was it. And I was like, I don't know what to do. And then my bartending job, I got paused. So, you know, a couple months, nothing happens. Bless Frances. She runs all the markets. And she had made a point to make sure the Kelowna Farmers Market is a food primary stop. So it will fall under the same jurisdiction as a grocery store.
Yes.
And not as...
I remember that.
Right? So we could stay open. We'll have to put our tents 40 miles apart. But, you know, we'll make it work. So... We did an Easter market, and then the outdoor market started getting rolling, and it was like one-way traffic at the market, and we were all far apart, but we were out there and we were able to sell. The cool thing about this was there was nothing you could do. You couldn't do anything. If you wanted to see your friend and someone saw you, like, watch out. Someone's going to call the police on you, right?
Sure, yeah, totally.
But if you wanted to see your friend at the farmer's market, you could do that. You could walk around, and, like, our business was probably like a bit of locals, but a lot of tourism, like especially in the summer, right? We live in Kelowna. Man, we just started to like soak up all these new customers, and they were all local. So our base just expanded so much. All these people were trying us for the first time, and we were getting like emails, phone calls, like, hey, can you do my birthday cake? Hey, can you do this? And because we were slow, it's like, yes. Wow. So we just started taking orders. And that year was like, it wasn't amazing, but it was good. And I quit bartending.
I remember when you told us that. That was,
mainly like, I wanted to say like I quit for the business, but it was like two things. It was like our business started to grow to a point where I was like, okay, I need to be more hours here. But then also, it was like bartending during COVID was just stupid. It was like my section went from like 50 seats to like 10. And then I was like, I had to wear rubber gloves, and I was.
I can't even talk to the guy through this.
No, man, I was like the mask police, and I was like, this is what I want to do. So I think it was my second shift back when they had reopened the bars. Midway through my shift, I just kind of went in the office, typed up my letter of resignation. Wow. Printed it, didn't want to use my ink. and left it on the desk. And they just said, hey, it's like, you're only working a couple shifts. We'll fill it. Okay. Don't worry about it. And then I was like, okay, I'm all in on this. Wow. And it was like, it was scary. Like, it was like, because bartending was that safety net, you know? We could have a bad week at the market. That's okay. I just worked 3 shifts this week. Yeah. You know, I got a nice, little bag of cash from tip sales, so we'll be okay. And I was like, we're all in now.
Wow. So what kind of feeling when you did that? What kind of feelings was there?
I was more excited. I'm like a let's go, kind of guy, right? Yeah. I don't like to think of like, I think of like worst case scenarios and like other things of like day-to-day life, but for this I wasn't thinking like, oh man, like I'm not gonna have that paycheck. I was just kind of like, that's not there. I'm just going to work twice as hard here. It's like we're going to do Wednesday market. We're doing Saturday. We're doing Sunday. It's like we're going to kind of figure things out. And we just kind of went for it. And
that's amazing because you know what? It lends to the idea of, again, it's like when they say when you're driving, right? I've used this analogy before, but when you're driving a race car, it's not where you focus on where you don't focus on where you don't want to go. You focus on where you want to go. Your line.
Totally.
Right. So it's kind of that mentality. It's like, oh, but what about this? What about this? It's like, no. Here's a path, and I'm going, and I'm going all in.
Yeah.
And I love that because you kind of took both approaches. You took the tiptoe, which sometimes you have to do. Yeah. Right. And then then it came to that point where you're like, you know what? This is just and you recognize it was just kind of a bit of a safety net, and you just said, I'm just going to work, like you said, twice as hard here. Yeah. And you end up getting the results. And so that was so funny. So I've seen you grow through that whole journey. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's fascinating because now I mean we'll go 15 minutes early to the market. I'm laughing and I'm like, this lineup's insane,
right?
And it's a Saturday
crazy.
morning and these people are like vicious and want their treats now, and the line doesn't end and you guys are just bumping. You sell out before in 3 hours.
Yeah, it's wild.
That's so cool. It's so cool to see. So I want to touch on one more thing first before we dive into some of the lessons. But how did, again, you said you and Alana had an amazing relationship. Did you find there was any, like this caused any tension between you two? Or is it more like, yeah, there was tension, but then you guys were able to adapt? Like what it sounds like, you guys were able to adapt and learn.
Yeah.
How did that go?
I'd say there was like all spectrums of all the emotions. There was like really great days. We were over like one of our best photos that we took together. We're both in our chef coats. We just catered a couple of friends of ours, Mike and Hannah. We just did their wedding. Mm-hmm. This is probably in like year 2, I want to say. Mm-hmm. And we got back. We poured ourselves we had a nice bottle, I think vodka. We made some nice lemon drops with it. It's like one of my wife's favorite shots.
Sure.
We cheersed, took a photo, threw it back, and then I was like, all right, change that. Threw on my bartending shirt, went to go work. That was one of the highs, and that photo comes up all the time. And I see it, I was like, man, that was just such a great day. I was that wedding, everything turned out so beautiful. But then we've been on the scale of so many opposite ends. It's something screws up. We're both sleep deprived. We're both hungry. You say something you shouldn't have said. I'm a jokester. Yeah. Sometimes I joke too far. The joke I tell at 8 p.m. really funny. That same joke at 4 a.m. not as funny. I've kind of learned.
You're okay, I got 2 shots with this. I better do something early. Yeah.
It's kind of funny because we both learned about. It's crazy when you live with someone, work with someone, we're around each other 24/7 basically. Mm-hmm. You can feel their emotions in a sense of where they're at and what they're at. So we've gotten better at working around each other and really trying to support each other when the other person needs support. But
that's awesome.
Yeah, there's you'll have some really rough days. You'll have some days and it sucks because it's man, you have a shitty day with your coworker. Well, whatever, I go home. I'll see you tomorrow. You know what? You get into a fight or argument with your wife. Well, I'm on my way to work. Whatever. We'll decompress. We get home, but it's we get into a fight before work. It's all right. I'll close the door, and then you're walking out with me. Oh, you're in the car with me. Oh, well, we're going to work together. So it just becomes it's a whole nother beast of just trying to stay balanced and keep everything in check. And it's hard. It's it's just you're learning every day really about how to go about different things in different ways. But this beautiful thing is no matter how crazy it gets is that we just seem to always rise above it.
I love that.
And it's funny because we laugh about some of the things that drove us insane before, or we'll just make little shots at each other, and it's we can get away with it now, whereas back then both of us would have been too sensitive in a way to take that kind of criticism or jab. So
totally,
yeah, it's a wide range.
Totally. And you know what, I guess my question then was going to be, did you find that this now, because you're working together, and I love it. Every time I see you guys, it's I'm actually inspired by it. To be honest, me and Emily, every time because we're building our coaching business and what we're trying to do with coaching and the meditating, and this is we always look to you guys as man, Tristan and Alana can do it. Man, we can do it too. So
totally.
So I guess my question then is, do you find that working together has helped your relationship grow and become deeper?
100%.
Right.
Because you're spending so much time together. That's the one thing I don't think people truly understand. It's especially when you get into business. If you get into business with another person, you want to make sure you guys mesh so much together, and each person brings different things to the table. That's the great thing about Alana and I is we both we're trained pastry chefs, but she was in the more decor, she loves decorating. To be honest, she loves everything, and she's really good at everything. I always joke about people greatest business plan you can do is figure out what you love, and then find someone that loves it more than you, and then just marry them, and then have a business with them, and let them propel you to the top. Because like, I work with this girl, and I'm just like,
I love that. That's
I
awesome.
see the things she does, and I'm like, it's insane.
It's art on food. It truly is. Like, if you haven't checked it out, you must.
Man, when you bite, like the other day, I ate one of our lemon blueberry tarts. She had saved for us, and I haven't had one of those in like a couple of years. Like, just not something I think of. But I think one got slightly damaged, so she's like, "Oh, I saved it for you, and like let's share it later." And I'm eating this thing, and I'm just like, man, like right where you put like that drop of blueberry gel, like just to get that on the outside with the meringue, and then the lemon curd. I was like, it's so perfect because I get this burst of blueberry before I even get to the blueberries in the middle, and then it's a different flavor than the fresh blueberries, and I was just like oohing and ahhing over this tart that she had made. But no, this not to get too sidetracked, but like having her as my business partner, like I couldn't imagine doing this with any other person. Like,
that's awesome.
I would have probably killed that person, or they would have killed me. But like being with someone that like you just love with every ounce of your soul, it allows you to basically push those boundaries to like the furthest it has to go to get to where you're going. Like I wouldn't say we're at the top of the mountain, but we're working our way to like a mountain like top. But like to get to where we are now, like I don't think I could have done it with anyone other than her. So
that's so cool.
I think our relationship just got so much stronger. The only thing that really hurt was like quality time.
Right.
Which I try to stress so much to any new couples that I see at the market that are doing this, is like, no matter how busy you get, and no matter what your schedule looks like, take that chunk out of your week to do something with each other, and don't talk. Like, don't mention it.
Work,
Like, don't bring your phone. Just have some time. Like, whether you're throwing a frisbee, laying at a beach, even just going for drinks, whatever it is, your cup of tea, just do something where it's just the two of you connected. Because we made the mistake where we didn't do that, and our relationship did hurt. Like, it hurt in all aspects of like what a relationship should be outside of working together. And so now we make a point, like one of our big things we do now is like when we sell out at Peachland, we leave the market right away and we go to the beach. We sit on the dock. We talk a little bit about work because we kind of reflect about like what we did on the weekend. But
you're winding down.
It's like our favorite part of the week, we always say. Yeah. It's because it's like, it's the furthest from when we have to do the most of our work. Yeah. So we're like, Sunday evenings, like even though we usually pass out by like 6:30, 7 p.m. But like this 12 to 2 o'clock where we just hang out at the beach and then we do our drive home, which now is to Vernon, which is a little bit further, but we're very slow and we just try to enjoy ourselves and like just kick it. And then that, I think, just it really helps us stay like unified and on the same page and everything. So
that's so cool because to be honest, that was going to be my next question for you because I had a few. So one was going to be, what are some tools for any couples that are getting into business together and that are wanting to start something? So one of them is quality time. Do you have any other tips or things you've learned and you're learning that you think people should be in?
Quality time, definitely your highest. And then communication. Like, always just like, you always just want to know what the other person's thinking. Like, we got into a habit which made it so helpful for both of us, is like, it was like, sometimes they were just little love notes, but then other times it was like little things of like, this is what I did tonight, because like we'd be sleeping on opposite schedules. So it's like, I have an idea of like what she did or what she expected. She left me some food in the fridge to eat. Okay, this is amazing. Like, but if she didn't leave that, I might have just like picked up a frozen pizza and ate like some terrible meal. Or, so and so is coming by tomorrow to drop off strawberries. Okay, perfect. I'll be ready for that. I think just having like a solid communication with each other and always knowing like, hey, I'm feeling a little run down today, so I'm only going to be able to do a few hours at the kitchen. Like, okay, now that I know that, I'm going to work differently versus like, it sprung on me right when we get there. You only want to work for 2 hours? Well, this is going to screw me up because I'm going to have cheesecakes in the oven in an hour and a half from now. And then you're going to want to go home, but I can't leave. And, we only have one vehicle. So communication, quality time. We didn't really do it, but like you probably should have a business plan. Like we had a rough kind of thing, but neither of us went into
Probably
business.
should do it like that.
You should have an idea, but
Right.
I also think you should have it written in pencil. You shouldn't.
Yes.
Don't stay like, we thought, this is probably like one of the best examples actually. We thought, okay, we're gonna do cheesecakes and tarts and like all these other desserts. Cinnamon buns and croissants weren't even on our radar for the first 8 months of our business.
Wow.
And the only reason we did them was because it was so hard to attract somebody to come to our stand at 8 a.m.
Yes.
Like, do you want, like,
cheesecake? Yeah.
I mean, maybe not.
I have a sweet tooth, so yes.
Okay.
But that's not everybody.
Exactly, right? So we had a friend at the market who did scones. We didn't want to do scones. I'm not a muffin guy. It's like,
Totally.
no. And like we were renting a commercial kitchen, so I was like, hey, let's like do some of the cooler stuff. So Alana's like, I want to make cinnamon buns and I want them to be plant-based because my sister's vegan, so I want to make something that she can have.
Yep.
So she created this recipe and they turned out better than our normal cinnamon buns.
Unreal. They're so good
They are so
that we
good.
had them at our wedding.
I
Well, actually,
know.
the apple cinnamon ones.
Yeah.
It's like apple pie and a cinnamon bun
I
combined.
know.
They're the greatest.
I always
things
love
ever.
when I hear you describe that to people in the line because you always use that. You're like, it's an apple pie and a cinnamon bun.
Goodbye. Like, who wouldn't want that?
You'd have to be like some sort of mad person to like not want that,
Yeah,
right?
or just hate good things. I don't know.
Yeah. I don't know.
So honestly, that's some really good advice, especially like the last one, like you said, is it's writing in pencil, because I think you said you didn't have a plan, but you had a direction.
Yeah, I'd say we had a direction. Yeah.
Right, you had a very clear direction where you wanted, and can things adapt and change? And that's the beauty of being in a smaller business. You can adapt and change quickly.
Yeah.
Right. So that's, I think, is awesome. So in terms of like true like business strategy, because again, that was more for like the relationship stuff, like you said, quality time, right? Clear communication. In terms of like business, anybody that is starting up their own, what's some advice so maybe some mistakes that you made early that would have saved you a lot of time, or some things you learned along the way?
It's hard to think of mistakes, like not saying we did it perfect, but like we made like probably like little minor mistakes. Like there was probably times where opportunities probably presented themselves and maybe I was too foolish, or I was just overworked and tired, or sometimes the plate was just too full and I didn't have a chance to capitalize. Like meeting some heavy hitters in Kelowna and they're like, hey, I want you to cater this event for me. And then I don't get back to them in a timely fashion. And then that opportunity kind of slips away. But the best advice I always give to every single vendor, at least at the farmer's market, I mean, I can't imagine what it's like storefront and doing things like that, but you gotta be present. Like I said, when we first started, I made a point. I was never on my phone. I never wore sunglasses because I like to make direct eye contact when I'm talking to a person. And I tried to speak to people, but also tried to be like, I tried to make it personal with every single person.
Yes.
And because of that, I probably have like 500 like names and little like
I was just gonna
stories about people like locked in my head.
Every time we're in line, it's like the three people before, you're like, oh hey Bill, hey Jane, hey and you're name dropping all these people, and I'm like, how do you know all these? I come all the time and I don't know these people, and you know everything about them, so it's impressive.
I think it's from bartending of like you remember a person's face in a drink, right? And it's
totally.
like
And now it's
when you get that drink, it's like here's 20% tip guaranteed almost. If like someone walks in and maybe I don't even remember your name, but it's like there's that double rye that you like pressed or whatever, you know. And same thing with this. It's like, oh hey, Joanna's here. Here's your almond croissant. Oh, Nathaniel and Emily are here. Okay, are we doing 3 and 1? Are we doing 2? Is it a cheesecake week? What are we doing, guys? Right? But just be personal with people and like generally like talk to them, care about them. I do this fun thing. I still do it now, but like we make mini croissants all the time because I have leftover dough.
Yeah.
I'll see somebody walking by with a cool shirt and I'll say, hey, yo, Superman, this one's on me. And, toss them a little croissant just because, like, I think they're wearing a cool shirt. Or anytime a little kid has manners, I give them a free little thing because I was like, I appreciate you having manners. The parents love that. We create this positive interaction. And I just think the best thing you do is, like, good customer service. Like, because of being in hospitality my whole life, basically, I'm like such a stickler on customer service, and like
Yeah.
Alana sometimes gets annoyed because I'll start to get a little annoyed when we go out to eat, and I'm like, "Ah, I can't believe like the waitress picked up like a glass with her finger inside of it, and like,
Yeah.
okay, like her cup's, my drink's empty. I want to order another beer here, but you're
Yeah.
not coming. So like, I've always tried to go above and beyond on customer service, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that's the biggest thing. Is like, just be present, get out there, don't be shy. So many people are so afraid to talk. It's like no one cares. No one cares what if you. You know how many times I stumble on words with people, or I'll put my foot in my mouth. Sometimes I'll say something stupid or whatever. We live through so how many, I forget what it is, but how many seconds there are in a day, right? But it's like, no one's gonna remember this in 5 minutes, right? So there's no point beating yourself up. So yeah, just be out there. Don't be afraid to make mistakes, and you never know, the one person that you'll connect with could change your whole entire business. You know, you get in with the right people, and it's like, hey, now they've just told somebody, and now you're catering. Like, I gave this one guy that was a regular at the bar. He became a regular at the market, and then he told his friends about us, and now his friends run the ballet, and now we cater all the big ballet events all the time. And that just all started with just like being friendly with one guy. So you never know where it goes. So I always just tell everyone, like, always just stay open-minded and don't judge a customer. Like, don't judge them how they look. So you have no idea. You have no idea who they are. And
I mean, I love what you said there, because it's so critical. I think it's missing, not just with our just society, but even in customer service, is true presence.
Yeah.
Like you said, you read right away, it was like, oh, I'm present. And I was like, yeah. And I thought, I was thinking in my head, I'm like, you're right. Every time I see you, you look directly at me. You're not looking away. You never touch your phone.
Yeah.
We talk about football. We talk about the kids. We talk about whatever, right? Like, that's truly being present
100%
with somebody. And that's being like, and what it is on an emotional level, and it is tiring too, and something to recognize it's exhausting, but it's also going like,
it is.
I see you.
Yeah.
Right? I see you as a person, not as somebody that I'm going to keep my head down, get the money and whatever, and make no eye contact, because you're right, that is missing in, customer service. And I think it's kind of two ways. It's one, people not being present, but it's two, it's on the flip. I would add to that is that if you engage with somebody like that right away, they go, oh, okay, right, you're a human.
Yeah.
I am a human. You're also a human. Let's
try to make it like an experience. Like, it's not a transaction, it's an experience. Like, you're coming to our stand.
Yeah.
And the fun thing is, like, I can shoot the shit with everybody about anything, I feel like. So it's like, I'm super comfortable, and it's funny because I'll go from, one of my guys will start getting into a little politics. They try to always keep that, away, and it's a very, it's like religion and politics. You don't bring it up at the market, but, I get some old people, and they just want to complain about something, right?
Yeah, totally.
So, yeah, those sons of guns, right? But then the next person will come by, and then they'll be like, yeah, let's go Chiefs. I'm like, yeah, Chiefs D, And you just pivot, and people get excited, and like you said, that's so true, because, like, when I do notice that, like, when I'll engage with someone, it's almost like, I'll call a lady. I always refer to if a lady comes to stand, I always refer to them as Miss. If I don't know your name, it's always Miss. And the amount of like how much it lights up their eyes of just being called Miss instead of hello ma'am, like that old it's great. It's right away they're like, oh, like, how are you? And I'm like, oh, I'm doing good, thanks. How are you? Like, they lean into you, and it's like if you're a business person, right away you just know it's like that's the hook. You already know you got them in for like a sale right now, right? So now it's like, well, now let's just chit chat. Let's see what you're looking for, and let's find something for you, and then hopefully I'll see you again. That's always the goal, right? I'm hoping that whatever I can provide to you, you enjoy, that I can see you again, or you think of me. So, or as I should say.
Totally, and to kind of add to that again is like I said, it's an experience, right? And people need that. People really are looking for that.
Oh, yeah.
Not a product. But the best thing about what you guys are doing is it's both.
Yeah.
It truly is.
Yeah, you get it.
When we come in almost every person I hear in the line, it's it's an experience. You can hear them, they're excited, they're this, I want to get this one, we tried that one. They're telling you all the things they tried and loved and didn't like.
They're better salespeople than me, honestly.
Totally.
Yeah.
But then at the end of the day too is really to come back to the product, to kind of wrap it into, you're engaging, you let them try it, you're engaging with them, you're there, you're present. The product is really good.
Yeah.
Like, it's really good. So
I'm pretty happy with it.
So, you know, that's kind of like the last thing is that when they do go away and whatever, they're going, man, these are like, every time we eat one, I'm just going like, this is like heaven in a bun, or, you know, the cheesecake, you know, whatever we're having. It's like, it's really amazing. And you can taste the care and love and attention to detail you guys put into it.
It's always the goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And it really is cool. So to hear all these steps that you've taken and things that you know, the way you analyze and the way you look at things is super helpful. And I think anybody starting up their own business, there's value in this. I mean, and you kind of brushed by it a little bit at the beginning, but was even just, you said you missed out on some opportunities because you didn't get back to people. Yeah, that's something I've been saying for years. Is like, it's such an easy one is to like get back to people. Yeah, when they call you, that's half of that's 80% of the work is just them reaching out. So they reach out, easy, just get back, even if you can't do it. Yeah. Hey, thanks for reaching out, this and this and this, but I'm super swamped. You know, this when we're not busy, because then they go, okay, that's cool. Maybe not this time, but they're still leaving with a positive experience. Absolutely,
100%. Like, and even still now, we're still pretty bad for like our communication with people. But we've gotten at least to a point where it's like, we'll just send a quick blurb and we'll be like, hey, like a girl yesterday emailed about her wedding, and she's like, hey, I know you guys are super busy. I'm just sending like my third email just to like, I just want to confirm to make sure this is okay. And I was like, Alana, are we doing this? She's like, oh yeah. She's like, I just haven't had a chance. I was like, hey, I'm just going to fire her a quick email and say, we got you. We'll send you a proper thing with everything. Yeah. Thanks for understanding. And like that, great there. Then those people are like, okay, we're taken care of. You right? Hear me. It's like, we're good. Yeah. Because before it'd be like, you know, work so much, and it's like the last, you know, you have like a 22 hour day, and the last thing you want to do is like open up your laptop, stare at a screen. It's like, if I'm staring at a screen, I want to just be like some stupid like put on a sporting event where I can just veg on the couch and I'll pass out, or throw on some movie or something, right? But like, getting back to people is just so important in like, especially in the growth stages, because I believe, like, just in life in general, like, I think everyone gets opportunities, everyone gets doors open. It's just a matter if you walk through them. And if you have the blinders off to even see that the door is open for you, right? Like, I'm sure we all could go back, and 2020 hindsight's so easy, but you can look back at different points in your life, and you're like, if I just had known this then, and I would have done that, it's like, man, this would have been so much better, right? So,
that's awesome. And it's so true. And again, I think people need to hear that, is that there is opportunity. If you look at it with a scarcity mindset, that's all you're going to be worried about. But like you did, as soon as you did quit your jobs, like, no, I'm all in. Yep. This is it. And then you start in the middle. I'm all in, guys. And hey, it's paying off, which is so wonderful, and I'd love to see. So last thing I guess I'd ask you is there anybody you want to thank? Which I think is kind of an easy one, but who do you think you want to thank? And any last words for anybody that is listening?
Well, obviously my wife. Alana. There's a few people though. All my chefs, anyone I've ever worked under, everything that Alana and I have created, a lot of it has come from like working under so many different people. We use recipes that we've acquired. We modify them a little bit, but like it's crazy. Like one job, Alana and I used to work in Winnipeg. We worked at a little bakery called the French Way. That guy who ran that place, we didn't leave on the greatest terms. But he lives in Kelowna now. And like I ran into him like a year ago at the farmer's market, and I was like, damn, these are like, I do cinnamon buns like how you did them, like sticky style, and like here's your brownie, and it was like pretty cool. So all the chefs that you know, we got to work under, all my friends and family that stuck through me through all this, it wasn't easy. Just you miss out on everything. I missed so many fun friend events just because gotta work, and we worked nights till this last year when we got our own kitchen. We had been renting kitchen working nights, so it's like every birthday event, everything, or it's like I'd have like one beer, and it's like, all right, I'll see you guys later. I'm gonna go to work, and then you just see, you know, look, they had a really good time. I wish I was there for that, but you know, you got to make your sacrifices here and there, and I'm hoping the work we put down will make for an incredible future where we got some big plans coming for the next year. So we're just gonna keep throwing those chips in the middle and just going forward, right?
You know what? You're betting on yourself.
right?
I love it. No better bet you can make. And
100%.
Like you said, you have your own kitchen now. You're growing.
Yeah.
You're moving forward. You're kind of past that first, so it's pretty cool to watch and excited to be able to kind of hear the ins and outs of it. So
it's cool. It's wild. And like I said, if you would have told me when we were like crushing some Aperol spritzers in Italy that like I'm gonna be sitting on your couch doing an interview talking about like
how your business,
how this business is like so amazing and all this stuff. I would have told you to slap me and wake me up because that doesn't sound like it's a real thing. But here we are, and who knows, man? The sky's the limit. So
I love it.
Sweet.
Thanks for being on this. No, we have.
Beautiful. Sick.
So thanks again for listening to this episode. I really appreciate you taking your time in your day to listen and to just hear what some of these people have to say and maybe take away a few notes and take away some things that might help improve your life. And if you found that this did help improve your life or even your mood or just, was inspired by this story, please, if you haven't yet, subscribe and share it with a couple people that might want to listen to a story like this and maybe have some takeaways in there from them. So thanks again for listening, and I'll catch you on the next episode. Bye for now.